Alright, so today's video is why you should buy a Porsche Cayman 987 in 2022. Now, there's a lot of reasons. For one, the resale value on this car is actually very, very good. Probably better than almost any other car out there in today's market. You could actually buy one of these and not have to worry about anything as far as appreciation at all. In fact, it will appreciate instead of depreciate, which is pretty rare on a car at any point in time. Now, it's not a crazy horsepower car. They're about 300 horsepower from the factory. On the S model, I don't remember what the non-S was, 40 or 60 horsepower less. On the S model, you get better brakes, you get better struts, you get better just about everything. And it is a lot to that little S on the trunk, exhaust, on and on and on, different engine, different transmission, all kinds of stuff, right? So this pre-LCI models, this is 06. So in late 07, early 08, they started giving you dual clutch. This one is not a dual clutch. This is a Tiptronic. It's a 5-speed versus a 7-speed dual clutch. This transmission is actually still really good, and I don't see too much of an issue with it. Now, dual clutch is always better, obviously, because it's newer. It feels a lot better. It's easier on the car. However, when it does break, it breaks, right? It's a bad deal. And it's a lot of money instead of a moderate amount of money. The transmission for this car is about $1,200. So not a huge amount of money at all, but that's for a used one. A dual clutch, I don't even know, a lot. $10,000 probably at the minimum, maybe even more. A new one's like 30 grand for a new dual clutch for this. They're not a transmission that's prone to break a lot. Unfortunately, they did not use exactly the same model for a lot of years in a row, so they will be hard to find a used one for a good price. There's not a lot of them around. As you can see here, we'll give it a little ripski. Yeah, got the 55 miles an hour real quick, huh? This car, the nice thing about this car, somebody inexperienced can drive it. What I mean by that, like our G-Wagon, the M5, somebody with a little bit of inexperience will end up dead in one of those cars. This car is very forgiving in the corner, very forgiving on everything, except whenever you come to a parking curb and ram the bumper into it and break it off. Then it's not very forgiving at all. Now remember, all these cars have 3 radiators, one in the middle, one on each side. The 996 911 we're doing has the same kind of setup. It's basically the same car, except the engine's in the middle in this one, it's in the rear in the 911. In my opinion, the Cayman is a better handling car than the 911. That'll piss a lot of people off, including Porsche, but it is what it is, right? I've had a lot of 911s. I've had 2. It's my second Cayman, and it seems like it's a far superior car. The only gripe I have about these Caymans are you cannot recline the seat back very far because the engine's behind you. Where a 911 has a back seat behind you, a tiny back seat, that gives you a lot more leg room. But I'm 6'4", I could easily fit in this car, no problem at all. This car gets about 25, 29 miles a gallon, maybe a little better if you baby it. And still being a really fun car, this is definitely our go-to car when it comes to a car we just got to make a run in. Obviously, you can't get too many groceries in it because it's just not that kind of car. But definitely, interstate-wise, is much more comfortable than all of our other cars. It's a very nice highway cruiser and very fuel efficient, so it works out really good. This one I have pretty loud exhaust on, but it doesn't really drone very much in here. Parts for this engine are not that cheap, but it's not that crazy either. If you try not to blow the engine up, and you just need to do the maintenance on it, it's not that bad. If you mess around and don't change oil or grenade the engine, and you have to buy a whole engine, they're about 10 to 15 grand for a used engine, which is quite a bit, and there is that. But overall, don't be scared to buy one of these cars. It is a very reliable daily driver. and the corning on it is definitely second to none. If you take this car to the track in a stock form, if it's an S model, it'll be a very, very competitive track car. And the price point on these, like a total burned out junk one's about 16, 17. A nice Cayman 987S, I would say you're looking 22 for an okay one, 25, 29, anywhere from basically 16 to 30, $35,000 is the range, depending on color, depending on transmission, depending on mileage. But that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Hope you liked it. Let me know what you think about the new camera setup, and we'll see y'all very soon. Have a good day. All right, so a quick update on the 996. We have the engine here. The heads are back on it. We're just waiting on timing tools. Hopefully be here tomorrow or the next day. Everything else is here except for the IMS bearing. I need to check the status on that. But here's what we're doing under the car. The next thing we're going to have to do is pull off all of the hard coolant lines because they're all full of the goo. See that? Makes you hungry, don't it? Just looking at it.
Sandwich with it?
Yep. And all rubber lines are deteriorated and squishy as hell. So we ordered a whole bunch of rubber lines for it, and we got the car on a lift just now. It's very clear we don't have all the lines. So now what we're going to do today is take all these hard lines off, unbolt all of them, all the front, all three radiators, and we have to take all those to the car wash and try to spray all that sludge out. If the radiators look like they are deteriorated at all, if the plastic is getting brown and brittle, they have to be all replaced. They're about $200-ish a piece. Hopefully we get them all for that. So it'll be $600 for new radiators. We have about 95% of the sludge out of the engine. We just put a new water pump, new thermostat in. So we got to open pretty much every aspect of the engine up. And last thing I'm going to do is go start the car up and cycle all this goo in there. But this is a monumental job. So if you go to buy one of these cars with a bad oil separator or bad PCV, because this is a water-cooled PCV that ruptures, just be aware it's a big money project because you will need all these lines. All these lines were so deteriorated and so squishy from having oil in them that you will have to do the same. All the lines all together, we're using URO brand lines. Hand me one over here. Because URO brand, because the OEM lines will be a couple $1,000s. This using URO brands, there's no push lock or anything. It's just a hose, right? That's probably going to be close to $500 or $600, $700. So just keep that in mind. We're going to be just in parts in this car. We're probably going to be close to $4,000 just in parts. And that is with us doing 100% of everything. So yeah, keep all that in mind. If you have this problem on these cars, you got to take it to a shop. It is going to be severe. It'll total the car out. Mechanically total is what we like to say. And most stuff that comes in here is that when we get it. So there's that. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see y'all soon. Clean this up for you real quick, boys. I want to hit you. Ready? That's a real... That's nasty.